Nice. Fist bumps go to the teammates.
I wanna hear ya go, go, go. I wanna see you rolling fast. Win the round. Win the game.
Pretty much. They play, you win.
And welcome back to the European Development Championship, brought to you by Gaming Malta, a home of gaming excellence. We're into our second best of one of Group A. If you're just joining us, then we just saw the Young Ninjas take on Saw, and surprisingly enough, it was Young Ninjas that won out the best of one. They're moving on to the winners match to face off against the winner of our next match between Nemiga Gaming and TPT. Surprises in server, an upset to kick things off in EDC Season 2, Dweg. The question is, will we see any more surprises coming into our second map up? What are your second matchup, I should say? What are your thoughts?
Look, initially I thought no, but now after seeing that opening best of one, it's kind of leaning on me to a bit sort of saying, you know what, maybe I've got to be a little bit more broad on this best of one. We've got TPT, the ex-Avaz guys, and look, you know, last year they looked pretty decent. In the summer, they had some pretty decent results. They were sort of breaking in top 40 on HLTV. Unfortunately, a lot of players from that lineup have gone. We've seen Kai and Kyla go over to the Snacks and Co lineup at Anonymous Leo. Marcos is taking a bit of a break, and Rixie's gone, and we've seen some new names added through, and some names that I haven't even heard of, Jay.
Yeah, honestly, when you compare this lineup to the old Avaz lineup, it's like one of those things where it's like, the only thing they're carrying there is lineage, because it's Norrot. And I have to say, of all the people that I feel bad for in this world, Norrot's got to be up there somewhere near the top of the list, because like, he had a really good team, and then things started falling apart, and then they forfeited in the MDL relegations, and now he's just left to pick up the pieces of the spot that he's inherited from that team and trying to piece together what little he can with a squad, which, to be fair, they've been doing okay in advance. But when it comes down to a matchup like against Nemiga, like, you know, I think Nemiga have had their own struggles of their own right, but the idea that they would lose to a team like TPT is it's such a far gone, out of the blue, out of left field sort of result that I honestly can't even see it being possible, you know?
Well, look, I've got a quotation here from Narod that he put up on Twitter about 6 or 7 days ago. He said, I was supposed to come back with something interesting appears on the horizon. I come back like a boomerang to the TPT squad with young, hungry players. The first test in the European Development Championship in a week's time. We don't have a lot of time to prepare, but we'll do our best. Yours, nice and warm. And I read that and I thought, oh, you know what? That's some positivity coming forward for the Polish team. But I don't know how much positivity is going to be on the server. The odds already at Paramatch are pretty heavily one-sided over to the Mega side, and we haven't even got the game started yet.
Yeah, I was going to say, that is one of the most one-sided odds pre-match I think I've ever seen so far in the tournament. Like, from Season 1, Season 2, and both qualifiers, like, that's just insane. 4.5 against TPT, and, I mean, they've got every right to think so. You know, it's Nemiga, it's Nuke. Nuke is not a particularly special map as far as I remember for Nemiga, but that's still one of those maps where it's like, listen, if you're going to play against TPT, you want to avoid the pug maps, and that most definitely is not a pug map. So they've definitely got themselves right off on the veto in that respect. And as well as that, Nemiga are just generally competing at a higher level. Again, I've said that they've had their struggles as of late, but the main reason is because they're competing at high B tier and A tier tournaments. So it's like, it's not exactly one of those things where it's like, you know, this is a team that has struggled at this level of EDC. I think coming down into EDC, Nemiga are going to have a real good time, but that's something we can elaborate on in a little bit more detail, because quite honestly, I think that all in all, like, this should be a very simple matchup for Nemiga. You know, when looking at this group, it was Saw and Nemiga that we saw looking at this, trying to make it out of the group stage overall, and Nemiga could be the ones that go 2-0, I think.
Certainly so. For Nemiga, I think things have really turned around from them, at least in the Tier 2 landscape. We had a moment over that Christmas break where Lollipop 21K, their sort of big star player, actually was out for about a month or so with a broken wrist. He's come back into the lineup, but you are right. The results recently haven't looked that great on paper, but they have been playing in your DreamHacks. They played in 3 DreamHack events in the last couple of months. So going back down to the Tier 2 landscape, the last couple of events that they played in, both 9 to 5 and Vulcan Fight series. They've made playoffs where they went down to Gambit twice. So I think going into certainly this GSL group stage of Group A, this should not be too much of a struggle against the TPT side. It should be relatively easy on paper, but let's just see if the polls can at least make it a contest, Jay.
Yeah, I think they'll be happy getting to double digits, you know. I think that should be the main sort of aim for this team, just to get some sort of impressive, hit the ground running and try and make things work, you know. Like, obviously, it will be it will be one of those things where it's like, you know, just start yourselves up with momentum, try so you can get yourselves some decency going here, and try and work off the back of you know, like a good sort of debut performance, even if you're not necessarily suspected to win, you know. I think any team coming into a group like this would probably expect not to win unless you were like a top tier team. So don't set your expectations too high, I want to say, for the likes of TPT. Let's see how far they can go. Let's see what exactly they can do. Mr. Round is about to go live here between these two squads, and indeed, it's up on your screen. CT start for TPT. Have the Kevlar in for every player. No defuse kits in. Utility for Box and Joe over on the Nemiga gaming cap. Yes, here we go. It's our second map, our second match of the day.
Starting up on CT's side, going fast and towards the lower bomb site out from Saint. And Nemiga just looking to probably go in for an upper site hit, maybe a vent dive. A little bit of utility being lined up from the T-roof, and here comes the execution.
The Molotov's down, USP tapping through against Lollipop and Co. Out of the gate for MDS. Trades are good from Valo and Killer Cappy, doubling up for Killer Cappy in particular. And Vanku holding back towards the back corner. 2 versus 4 for Nemiga's challenge. And Box will go down, leaving it all to Joe here. Glock spam will get one good frag in the back lines, but it's Killer Cappy to close it out, and the CT defensive holds itself well on the A side.
One player you might remember, Killer Cappy, played with the ROG Azaku lineup a little bit of a while ago. And Sane as well played on Pride a little bit further back in the day. And KPI most recently, who have brought some relatively strong players ahead. Certainly as ZTR, who we've seen progress from the Young Ninja squad forward, was also a part of that KPI lineup. Oh, nades outside doing a hell of a lot of damage onto MDS, so much so that he can't stay alive.
Yeah, basic eco coming out for Nemiga though, so it's no Kevlar, no real weaponry to speak of. They got a Deagle in for Lollipop, which could be an interesting entity, but for the most part, you're expecting this round to get cleaned up pretty easily by the TPT side. Nemiga, good as they are, ecos are only so good. I say that, and Lollipop does Dome 1. Further tags coming through against Vanku, who does get Speedak and Lollipop to drop, so the bomb out in the open. Killer Cappy dealing with the next player out, so bit of a hiccup there for the CT side, but a hiccup is all that they'll find here. 4 alive in the second round.
All right, well, that was cleaned up pretty quickly. Nice shot comes out from the Deagle outside from Lollipop 21k, but that's all that the T's are going to be able to come away with. And Rifles coming forward, AK's up for everyone. And still a bit of a bonus round for the TPT lineup. Getting that FAMAS for Vanku and the MP9 out for Killer Cappy. And Nemiga. Haven't really seen a lot of outside presence for them just yet. A little bit of early utility out towards Squeak Door to get quite an aggressive Lollipop into some action. And Vanku taking some early damage from the spray.
Get on with the AK, trying to face around this corner here. Lollipop waiting inside the squeaky area, waiting for someone to push forward. CTs are semi-aggressive at this one, but not so far as to extend in towards lobby control. Killer Cappy is just going to be waiting for them to make their way out of the hot position going towards the A-site play, which Nemiga do initially look like they want to do here. Now, if there's one thing that TPT do have is the research potential in terms of digging into Nemiga's map pool and figuring out what they're going to do. Just to be a fast play out towards this ramp position. Still no contact, but finally a kill does come in as Killer Cappy finally falls down towards the high position.
Yeah, not the best of smokes out towards that Squeak Door. And Jayo had the opportunity of trying to split towards lower with the teammates from Ramp, but it might be a play back into the upper bomb site. Big kill comes out from Lollipop 21k. Vanku on the side can't find anything. Norok gets a pick out from Ramp, but this round's pretty much all but over. This has got to be an instant save attempt unless somehow they can deal with Jayo and at least get control and try and retake back up towards the upper bomb site.
I've heard that gun drop, so they know that Norok switched out to the AK. As Sane goes down towards the secret area, they know exactly where Norok could be at. Take that fight in. He does take down Joe, so there's that much, but Lollipop there with a quick trade back and a first round to the board of Nemiga. Pretty decent and confident there from the T side. Not the most confident round in the world, but still pretty good stuff coming in from them. And the odds have gotten worse for TPT. I would have thought that an early start
So
would have made
3
it
rounds
at
in.
least, yeah, just 3 rounds in is definitely tipped back further to Nemiga. I would have hoped that, yeah, again, 2 rounds up at this stage would have given them a bit of an extra sort of like caveat, but no, there's still no faith from Paramatch. And again, I can't really blame them for thinking that way, to be honest. Back up to the basics here, the SMG, the CZ. Very awkward force buy from TPT and very fast execution coming in from the T-side line.
Ooh.
Box gets 2. The spray from Killer Cappy is so awkward. And yeah, 5 versus 2. This is easily mopped up here by the T-side.
Yeah, that's sloppy, and that's really, you can't afford to be making mistakes and plays like that against a team like Nemiga, because they'll punish you into that upper site. No one goes down. Yeah, Box and Spedak take a little bit of damage, but not a lot going for the CTs, considering that was a force buy. Spedak's got the opportunity of going in for an AWP in the next round if he likes it. And TPT, though, hold on to that M4, hold on to that Scout. They've lost complete control of the bomb site and complete control of the money line. They'll have to be on an eco. They can't afford to force again. Nemiga and tie up the scoreline pretty quickly.
Indeed, they do. Something that Saw struggled to do the entire time in that first map up, and on Nemiga looking like that they can actually go one step further and take the lead away from TPT. M4 and Scout saved in by the CT side. Probably going to be seeing an eco surrounding here because double eco status for the CT side, so yeah, not much they can do about that. Just kind of going to take it on the chin. In the early game, it looks like Nemiga will be able to hold themselves together on this one, and well, that's an encouraging sign for their T side. Get a good T side on Nuke, then that means that well, you can do some pretty decent damage and respectable all the same, but... And they're downstairs in the vent dive for the CT side. Going to be ready for the T's to make their way into a very fast hit. It's going to be Joe to isolate that kill very early out of this weak door. We're able to fall. One more player in the back lines here of the site cleared away from the Heaven control. Nora will fall. The bomb will be secured.
I'm really hoping we don't just see upper execution after upper execution after upper execution. We haven't really seen a lot outside. We haven't seen a lot in terms of event dive. We haven't seen really anything towards ramp. It's just been very simple upper take so far for the Belarus side. Another thing to add, actually, which is something that I only noticed recently, was Roman. You remember players like Robbo and Roman and Hitmouse that used to play on Nemiga back in the day? He's actually turned into an analyst role over the last couple of months, joined in late October for Nemiga as a past player. First time being in an analyst role. And maybe that's helped Nemiga really start to bring results forward and try and break into that top 30 position on HLTV, get more international experience. Helping them move forward against some of the tier 2 teams as well. 3 rounds in a row up for the T side. And for TPT, we should see the rifles coming in. M4's coming out for everybody. Sane's going to stay on the Scout for the meanwhile. Hopefully get an AWP in his hands pretty soon.
Do you know whenabouts they brought him in as an analyst?
27th of October 2020. So
okay,
that's like
well,
4
that would
months.
actually line up. That would line up to about when they entered the top 30 and probably the reason
Around
why
there?
they've maintained that position. So, yeah, probably a good shout at it. But I think in a match like this, tactics aren't going to be the main concern for Nemiga. You see the upper execution coming in one more time. This time it's converted into a vent dive. They've got that first kill, and MDS are going to hang back, ready for the backstabs to come through. Only one player on the B site. Burst through of Nora, dealt with by Lollipop. And simple kills coming in. And Nemiga, like, again, you talk about tactics and whether they can just go for the same hit over and over again. And I think that honestly they can, just because it's one of those matches where Nemiga are the favorites in firepower as well as tactics, you know. So, I mean, no disrespect to the TPT team, but, you know, these are guys experienced at a very high level of Counter-Strike. And, I mean, TPT just can't compete on a basis of head-to-head firepower.
And yeah, I suppose you can take direct comparisons between them and Saw in the sense that they've been like leading their region for God knows how many years now. And it's always been Nemiga towards the top end of the Belarus scene and Saw towards the top end of the Portuguese scene, with a couple of exceptions. But TPT having some okay results as of recently on Nuke and Advance. We saw them take 5 rounds against a strong Sinners side, who we'll see a little bit later on in the EDC. And a 16-0 only quite recently against the Case side, the Brazilians that are playing in EU. But outside of those 2 results, it doesn't really look like they're translating here over against Nemiga. They do have an AWP in action, Jay, but we need to see some rounds on the board from the CTs.
Yeah, Orps and M4s. Another buyback coming in for TPT. That one AK save from the last one for Rev. Zane pushed up towards the ramp control, backed up by Norrot in the aggressive positions. They will be able to take ramp and lobby control, but the T's are going towards outside this time. I know you asked for a little bit of a variety. The diagonal smokes will come through so they can make their way towards Secret, uncontested by any counter utility of the CT side. I think they'll realize now that Secret is just being gained control of, so Zane's going to try and rotate back. Hold position here at the ramp entrance, but so far no contact from Nemiga.
Now, they've had some pretty good rotations, though, from the city side. They've got the AWP from Sane playing out from ramp, and an M4's dropped towards lower 2. That's an R-Rot. Unfortunately, doesn't quite have any more utility to work with. Nemiga, though, how are they going to be able to try and isolate these picks? I mean, even for Sane, he's now sort of leaving his teammate out to dry.
Oh, good kill from Joe, taking out Norrot. And Sane can respond back to the AWP, doubling up on Lollipop as well. Potentially even the triple, perhaps. He'll back off, leave the bomb plant to be secured here. So a 4 versus 3 gained by TPT. Rotations are inbound from the CET side, and they've extended pretty heavily up towards his ramp position. So Sane's not going to be able to get another good opportunity at this pick-in, unless Box wants to peek towards it. Indeed he does. It's a 3rd kill for the big green gun. AK moving up, burst through. Van Q's going to take down MDS. So SpeedAxe left alone here. Drop in onto the bomb defuse. Tapped once. He's still there at Decon. Smoke up, sticking the whole thing. 10 seconds to it. And not even needing that much here. It's going to be one final frag for Killcappy. There you go. A 3rd to the board of TPT.
Probably one of the best rounds we've seen from them yet. In towards lower. Yeah, the first kill comes out from Jo and towards Narot that was playing back default. But from there, the AWP is able to strike with a couple of kills. They are able to clear out lobby, bring a lot of players back into ramp to go in for that retake. And Nemiga just crumble. And they get SpeedAxe on that AWP now to follow going into round 8. And TPT, though, let's see how much more of a contention they're going to be able to hold. Lots of flashes coming in towards the upper side. Fast out from Squeaky, but not before a couple of kills come out for the CT side.
All right, the count is in play for them. AK's cross-firing, taking out 2 in box and Lollipop. MDS also leaning up to look towards the upper rafters. Trying to catch off one more CT. They've left that position completely open, and in general, there's no one on the site itself. Backed up, smokes down, spray through from Rev gets SpeedAxe. Wall bang onto the HUD control, and nobody saw that coming. All 5 players from the CT side not even tagged up by Nemiga, and that is a much, much better hold from the CT side.
Things are starting to look pretty good pretty quickly for TPT. MDS and Jo, I mean, they might as well just save at this point. HE should be able to take him out. No! Somehow survives on 2 HP. Incendiary coming in, and that's going to deal the finishing blow. Jo now 1v5. Bomb on his back. Swing already coming through, taking a fair bit of damage. What a round from TPT. Not a single point of damage is done. They're able to pick up 3 AKs. They've still got the AWP. Are TPT coming into the action? It looks like they are.
Speaking of getting into the action, the only way you can get into the action is with some 6 skins. Here's some codes on screen that you can use at Hellcase. 70 cents and 15% refill bonus. Grab your discount and get what's yours only at hellcase.com. And that round, I think, is really the first time we've seen the potential of this team, you know? Like, obviously, we're coming into this one with a lot of question marks because I personally have not seen many of these players sort of performing. I know that you're a bit more in tune with their history and, you know, you're Mr. Research Man himself. But, like, you know, when you talk about, like, this team and who they are, it's like, you know, you don't really know exactly what they could be capable of until we see it in the server. And well, that was a really good demonstration right there. No player getting tagged. This round, lesser so, though. Van Q trying to swing out very aggressive towards the outside control. 2 players there. He will tag up Jo to a very low amount of HP, but the AWP for SpeedAxe does trade it back. So 5-on-4 gain. Meanwhile, aggression coming in towards the ramp control. The T's unable to gain it. Rev's going to start swinging up against the AWP. Catch off that trade, though, so back to evens at a 4v4.
Good timing, unfortunately. Yeah, they don't know about JO's position. Caught out from hell. Killcappy, though, hearing a lot of these footsteps to the upper tape. Rev's now going to start to come out from the secret position, but he's still wondering where Jo is.
Turn up here, AK seeing the gun barrel, but so is Rev. Trades it out. MDS can respond. Box follows suit towards the main control. And Nora in a 1 versus 3. MDS seen, spray through, not able to take him down. And Nemiga do recover the round here. A good couple of early entries. I feel like a lot of TPT success could be down to how well they hold onto those early entries. And unfortunately, it's not quite able to regain control of the lead here. Odds continuing to spiral out of control for these guys. 7.5 over at Paramatch Black.
Yeah, it's not looking good, is it? You've got to think that for Nemiga, even though they're only in a one-round advantage, that they are certainly the heavy favourites in this best of one. And play towards outside once again. Decent nade onto the T side is going to do at least a little bit of damage onto Box and Jo. Outside smokes coming through, and it is funny that, like, in the closed qualifier, we saw Ethereal actually going for those diagonal smokes. I think you mentioned it, that we are starting to see it a little bit in the Tier 1 scene, but since that matchup in particular, I feel like the last couple of weeks, we've seen a lot of Tier 2 teams going for those diagonal smokes.
There's a lot of advantages, because I don't think you could put like an incendiary down to block it. You know how
to
like
block at least one of them, yeah.
Yeah, if you set the piece towards the regular sort of like secret cross, then you know like you can put an incendiary close towards red box, and that will block off a big gap, and you've got to use a third smoke essentially to get to that cross. So a lot less risky there for them. Meanwhile, speaking of risk, there's no risk taken for Nemiga to get into the B bomb, so get that bomb plant in. Lollipop going to lurk upstairs, get one frag before he's traded by Rev. But TPT are taking their sweet time trying to get towards this retake. And all four players are coming in towards the ramp control here. Seeing how well they're able to deal with the retake. Flash in. Box could be in a hairy spot because he's right behind the shutter door. MDS watch if anyone in the back lines, and Box and Speedak deal with it. Speedak does fall, so does Box. 2v2 trades, but time is ticking. They've got to get to that bomb real quick, and they don't even want to go for it here. Despite the kits in play, they realize the time's ticked so far gone, so they'll just grab the AK and save it. Concede 6 to Nemiga.
And you wonder whether Narod needs to make a bit of a change-up in terms of the calling when it comes to the retakes, because we did see when they were able to retake that lower bomb site to win their third round, they did slow it down quite massively and were able to overwhelm. But that time, it did feel like it was very slow. It was quite sort of... all the momentum going for them had just started to dissipate, and from there, as soon as Nemiga were able to find a couple of opening kills in that 4v4, they run out of time, even when the trades come back. Double orbs coming through. Now, Nalrod did this a little bit for the Aves side. He's now bringing it forward into round 11.
SMG and M4 trying to crossfire and burst through until that squeak door area, unable to connect. Any tags here? The AWP is saying it's going to be a bit closer to Jo. Ooh, the quick scope just comes up. A bit awkward there, but it does connect, and that's good enough for the CT side. 5 on 4, getting away at 66 points of HP. Nemiga stopped in their tracks to the outside control, and Speedak's forced to back off for it.
Not bad at all. Sane dropping lower in towards Secret, and grants himself the opening pick onto Jo. And Nemiga now, one of the, I want to say, only times in a while that we've actually seen a man disadvantage go their way. And Box, just with a slow walk out from ramp, runs into the other AWP. Both orbs finding impact.
Yeah, 2 good kills. No trades from Nemiga. 45 seconds to the clock for them to try and find something to respond with. Rev here with the SMG close against MDS, sees his man, bursts through, doing no damage, taking some to return. Forced to back off. That Molotov might force him even further away. Standing in the midst of it is Killer Cappy, is the next to fall here. For the CT side, that first casualty gain. SMG still close, Speedak not ready for it. MDS can find the trade, but Vanq still up in the rafters, gets himself a triple as he holds down the A site on his lonesome, a 5th to the board of TPT. And they are keeping pace, you know. The CT side has gone pretty well so far for them. I am questioning whether or not the half switch is going to affect them in that respect, but for now, it's looking all right for them.
It is. It seems like the favourites today in Group AJ are, you know, getting a good run for their money. They are not finding it as easy as certainly I thought. 1 round the difference. A lot of plays in towards a lower bomb site and from Secret so far from the CT side. And quick play outside, maybe a split in through main to the upper bomb side tape by the looks of things.
Possibility. Box moving up. AWP looking on. Drop through near the vents area. Did Lollipop hear it? Yes, he did. He takes down Rev through that smoke as a result. Good kill. Opening things up here for the T side. Need those frags to go their way. They're limited on firepower and on utility as well, so they need as many advantages that they can possibly get here. Box is going to find an advantage of his own up here towards the heaven position, seeing the likes of Killer Cappy taking him down. VanQ can respond towards main, but quick trades are good. AWP trying to no-scope on the ladder, but it does not land, so 4 versus 2, and both of the AWPs left in. They have to concede that bomb site control, and probably concede the round as well.
No, this doesn't look possible. Ooh, I was going to say, if Narok gets that pick, there might be a chance. 1v2, Same might want to try and go for this. This is super aggressive. I don't know about that one. I would have much preferred to see the double AWP save, but look, they went for the risk and it didn't quite pay off.
Wouldn't it be great if he just dropped down the just dropped down out of heaven to avoid that Molotov and just, you know, clutch
No
the
scope.
1v2? Yeah, no scope. That's what I'm saying, you know, like it's some simple stuff right there, you know, but yeah, nah, I mean, it was going to be difficult for the safe call. I mean, it was going to be difficult for TPT regardless as soon as the Nemiga came in with that 4 versus 2. Good efforts to try hold the exit frags towards outside, but now they're down to Eco. And Deagle does do some initial damage there, but it's the only upgrade pistol that they had there, Insane, so he's down. Players close for the USP, trust that they can get some decent damage, and Norok will get boxed to 3 points of health. Now Lollipop's got to clear out the windows, opening the double doors. Decon is going to leave one player as the lurker, as Rev and VanQ also fall elsewhere on the map. It's all we left to kill Cappy. Opens the door, does not deny the bomb plant, and even then there was so much time to the clock that if he got that kill, he probably would have gotten traded quickly.
Buy back from TPT. Not quite enough money to go for a double AWP setup. And now we're just going to be on for the M4, Same picking up the AWP, who's looked pretty decent so far. Hasn't put up a massive monster amount of kills, but it seems like when he does get going, he can find a couple of multi-frags in a certain round. And Nemiga, I mean, already 8 rounds on T. I think that's pretty superstitial so far. If they can get any more, that would be great, but I think they'll be quite satisfied with where they place themselves.
Or watching the edge of the smoke. I'm going to pop out of there. Risky advanced angle from the T side, if you ask me. Meanwhile, the AWP of the CT trying to get outside and have a bit more open space to work with. Can't see anything, though. Tag damage has been sustained, though. Joe to 4 points of health. It was the Heaven player that burst through, did its spray damage. AWP speed act looking on. Down towards the ramp control, top of the boxes as well. Nora with the M4. Jump facing. Incendiary hits the wall, and that's not great for VanQ. Nora will keep his eyes on the advanced angle, though. The T's are suppressed.
We've seen double ramp play pretty consistently for the CTs, but Nara just goes dry, swings out to the open. They do bring a couple of players out from hell. VanQ at a very wide angle, does find one pick, but now it's down to Same with the NWP. MBS, a wild kill comes through. The wide swing is absolutely ridiculous. And now they've got control towards the lower bomb site. This has to be another instant save for TPT.
Jesus, that I don't know how that AWP does not connect that shot, but MDS just popping heads. And, well, Rev and Kill Cap, you've just got to save. Like, there's just nothing left in this round. Like, shock of your life as well to see the AWPer lose that kind of a duel. Like, especially for the AWPer himself, just like, this is going to be an easy hold, and then you're dead. Like, you know, that's... yeah, well, what wasn't great. Wasn't great there from the TPT side, but Nemiga are going to get to 9. They've already won the T side half as well. Could be on for a 10-5 T side, which could potentially it could potentially be a very quick end towards this map, and might be able to put us back on track of the schedule as well. So, you know, there's always that sort of entity. Yeah, Nemiga are making light work of this one. They have been tested at times, but in general, they've maintained themselves.
And I think that duel right there really just, you know, shows the prowess of Pro CS. You know, you've got obviously your global elites, and then you've got your level 10s, and then you've got your tier 3, tier 2 teams. I mean, not even talking about your tier 1 opposition. Some of these duels are just ridiculously quick for Nemiga. And TPT, I mean, even the buyback into round 15, it's not really that great. No AWP potential. Fast play outside. Box gets another great kill. This time round, it's an opening advantage.
VanQ dealt with Nora taking damage, dropping for Rev, somehow gets that kill on Lollipop as well. Smoke back, playing some cover, further nades in. Oh, tag to 4. Norot's going to fall to speed-ack, and that Molotov from Joe should finally finish off the job. Indeed, it spreads far enough. Kill coming in. Sane does find a response, though, and Joe can't catch that player over the rafters. Should have jumped out of the way. Did he escape? He's on 2 points of health. That was the most awkward dodge I think I've ever seen in my life watching professional Counter-Strike. Sane will finish off the job on him, but now 1v2 for the retake. The bomb will go down to the backside. An AWP with no kit for this. I mean, if he peeks in, gets a kill on towards the ramp player, that might be plausible. MDS will be the next big concern, though. Smoke on the right, flash through. No, shut down by the AK. 10-5 to the board. But Nemiga, and a very good T side to start things off.
And sometimes you look at a 10-5 half, and if they didn't win pistol, you can understand it to an extent, but considering TPT won pistol and the anti-eco, it's not really a lot of rounds on CT side. And, well, certainly, you get the most for watching your game. Sign up and grab your bonus from Paramatch. Click on the banner below to get all the information on how to get involved. Because I think, Jay, we might be moving over to a best of 3 pretty quickly here.
Yeah, and the young ninjas having to struggle through that last best of 1, seeing this confidence coming out from Nemiga. Talking about Nemiga smiling about the previous result, and now knowing that young ninjas may be watching this one. It's like, oh boy, this is not going to be a pretty sight if they're able to maintain themselves going into the BO3. Seen 2 tacticals back-to-back from TPT and Nemiga. Prior to the pistol round, I'm not sure what they're going to be discussing, considering it is pistol tactics, but let's see where they go with this one. I would suspect that Nemiga would have a game plan to hold off the CT defensive. The CT half is the better half as well for them statistically on this map.
Oh, you know, one thing that just comes to the top of my mind, actually, that when we were casting the closed qualifier is the extra tactical timeouts in overtime. We actually didn't get to see any used in that last best of 1. We saw, like, all 4 tacks being used by the young ninjas in regulation in the first 30 rounds, but we didn't get to see any extras being used in OT.
Do you think the teams are, like, conscious of that fact? Like, obviously, they've been made aware due to the rule book, but it's like, you know how, like, teams are just, like, they just think that the rules are standard across all tournaments, and it's like, you know, do you think they even, like, just have the thought, oh, yeah, we can have another tactical pause here in the overtime? I never know. Either way, it's going to be 2 kills for Lollipop and Box. Thank you, and Kill Cappy are dealt with onto this secret control play, and 3 players to swing back downstairs from the CT side. They've caught all information on where these TPT players are at. And they're going to try counteract them 1-to-1 on those trades. Molotov's in, smokes down. Satan's going to try play entry. Does deal with speed act. Look back towards the back of Dark. Awkward shots to connect towards Lollipop in the end. One player upstairs, and Nora gets that kill. Okay, that was impressive. But Joe getting 1 trade to a 2 versus 2 box close. And Sane lands on him as well. Okay, this is a pretty good pistol from TPT as MDS is left alone to retake.
What a recovery. 3v5, they're able to get the bomb down, but now it's down to the clutch to MDS, playing out towards Dark of Zane, and MDS is gonna fall. What a kill. A wide swing comes out for the P250, 4 kills for Sane. Or maybe you could say that was insane.
I was waiting for you to make that pun. Huge stuff from that P250. That was real good there from TPT and from Sane in particular. Considering they lost those 2 frags early on when they tried to make their way down through Secret, like the fact that they were able to isolate those 1v1s, that's all right. That's not too bad from them, and it does give them a little bit of a bolster going into the rest of this half. You talked about that 16-0. I'm not sure if that was down to their T side or their CT side going so well, but that is a positive sign for them at this stage, but that's not so much. Lollipop with that first kill and that second makes it 3 in towards the ramp control as they feed him the kills. 1 by 1 they face, and 1 by 1 they'll fall.
That's poor, and it just falls apart even further. You've got 2 players outside. If there was another player with him towards ramp, I wouldn't mind the swing. Yes, it's down by 1 by 1, but the bomb's alone, and there's no teammates to support. Rev is now in a 1v2 situation. This should be a simple kill for MDS to close out the anti-eco force bite. That's disappointing. TPT are just in shambles, I want to say, on the contact out from ramp.
And again, just seeing how confidently that pistol round went, and then just following it up with that kind of a round, that's just, well, the excitement, the hype just died. So, yeah. Yeah, what do you want to do to that is the real question for TPT. How do you respond to that kind of a play? Because they're down to Deagles on a force bite, which could still do some damage. We've seen plenty of decos over the course of Tier 2 Counter-Strike, and they have come up with some surprising results. Nemiga happy to do so right here on this CT half. He's going with that 12th to that board, and if they can do so, that'll be 13 with an eco coming through. Box will get that opening kill. Van Q can trade it back. Try to get back out of dodge towards the outside control. Rev's also in secret, and Joe might not be aware of it. Sane's next to full, and indeed Rev is going to be swung upon by the M4. Good shooting, accurate touch, accurate shots, accurate crosshair placement, and well, TPT not going to get away with anything in this round.
They're running out of rounds here, Jay. Deagle outside from Van Q does actually find a couple of kills, and I thought for a moment there that things could have spiraled out of control for Nemiga, but they clean up. MDS finding that last kill, and 12th on the board. And TPT have to eco here. They can't afford to force buy again. Try and get those rifles forward into round 20. I don't even really like to see any investment in a round like this, but they have decided to go for a Deagle.
Hey, credit where it's due, you know, TPT putting up the hut on the Nemiga gaming side. I mean, there's a very low amount of money considering they've just, you know, won anti-eco or won a force buy and then won the 2 rounds after the fact. Kill for Box, bursting through, back onto Rev and Van Q. Nurot's going to get taken out as well by Lollipop elsewhere onto the ramp entrance. And yeah, Van Q next to drop. Lots of those pistols, just so they can get the drop off the silo boost, but only real pistol in play is for Sane the Deagle out. Next kill coming in. He does get 1 exit. Be careful to give him up the simple headshot angles, which is exactly what one player in the backlines will do, I believe, at the speed hack. But 1 player to fall for the CT side, looking much better trying to deal with these ecos. And now the AKs will come out for TPT. 13-6, a bit more of a one-sided scoreline than the previous map up, and Nemiga only a few rounds away from victory. If they can get this rifle round to work, then I have a feeling that might just seal the deal here, Dweg.
Yeah, this has got to come down to the comebacking abilities of their in-game leader of Narok from the T side. What can they bring forward? Nades looking like they want to be lined up from the T-roof position, maybe going in for an upper take, but a bit of an aggression outside. 2 players playing close towards T-Red, and look at the damage from NDS. That was a triple nade stack by the Ts.
5 HP. Down and out of this one. It's not quite dead yet, but what can MDS realistically do on the bomb site now? AWP speed, that swinging in does not quite land on Van Q. Landing a tag, but just the hair off position. Now allows the AK to get the opening kill, so Nemiga getting a bit overly aggressive in this one. AWP kind of had no choice, though. Trying to hold from the passive big box angle, red box angle, it is not exactly a good idea. Box can find the trade back on Van Q. That might be the possibility to keep the run going for Nemiga, but it's outside smokes coming in. He knows it. Incendiary to try to block them off. He tries and holds back on the defense.
Yeah, there's not a lot of utility here for the T side, and even a little bit of a gap in that outside smoke might give the information that it's just a fake outside. That 1 player of a lurk of Rev, it looks to be an inside play, maybe a vent dive at most.
M4 waiting, Rev sneaks up, Box has no idea, but still gets the kill regardless, so 4 on 4, and now they deal with it. Box turns up for 2, now Joe can swing out and strike, trade back from Sane, keeps it at evens. Bomb out here, Van Q's gonna pick it up, he's low HP, and they're gonna dive through the vents. Good call there from TPT, they will secure the bomb plant.
Chucking that AWP over to the low HP player, but rotation's coming quickly towards ramp, and Lollipop is at least wasting more time. Bomb gets dropped, it gets picked back up, and it's down to the low HP player on the retake. MDS is on 5 points of health. Lots of advantages up for Sane with the AWP.
Gonna land 1 bullet on any weapon. If he had the AK, he'd be at the advantage, but got to land the first shot accurate, and he misses it, leaving MDS with a simple headshot. 5 HP clutch, no problem. 14 to the board of Nemiga.
Look, they get a bomb plant so they can rebuy and reinvest into rifles for TPT, but when you look at that round, that has to be converted. A 2 versus 2 goes down to a 1v1, and certainly make sure to check out Paramatch, our fantastic betting partner. And click on the banner below to get all the details on how to get involved. Nemiga, what a clutch to win too, getting closer. You can almost feel like they can taste victory from here.
Yeah, AK is in with the utility set. The bomb plant bonus coming through. Rush out. MDS seeing what's coming through. His teammate maybe a goner. No, Joe lines up 2, and MDS gets a double of his own. Bomb out in the open. Staying in the 1 versus 4. This one's done. Round over for TPT, and that rush tactic with a heavy buy, leaving to nothing. No bomb plant, no bonus, no nothing. 9 match points for Nemiga to work with, and yeah, this should be over here for TPT. It was a good effort in the first half, but on the T-side switch, it's all falling apart.
Yeah, it hasn't quite gone the way they would have hoped. And no rounds, like you said, over on this T side. They went in for the rush towards the upper bomb site that last round, and, well, weren't successful there either. Aggressive play coming out for Lollipop. I thought he was going to push that smoke out from Ramp, but decides, you know what, the safer option is probably to fall back and play more passive.
Good idea. Trying to get out of dodge here as Nora watches for the vent dive. AK, thank you. Does come up good against Box at the very least. The outside control swung upon by the CT forces, getting that kill in. Opening up the round. Sane also swings back on Joe, gets that headshot. Caught looking the wrong way at the wrong time. So 2 kills untraded for TPT.
Yeah, a bit of an aggressive play, knowing that they were down a man advantage. So they decide to go in and make a bit of a play, and it doesn't quite work. Jo loses his life too, so it's down to just 3 players. Speedak with the AWP, AK up for Lollipop, and MDS with that M4. Now, Nara has gone in for the vent dive very early on into the round. Hasn't quite found anything with it so far. Where do TPT want to go from here? Do they want to try and go into the vent dive, hit that lower bomb side, maybe try and take some ramp control and work off the back of Nara?
30 seconds. Molotov's in as Rev tried to drop down here.
Just save, I
towards the
think.
site. Yeah, I think that's the best call for Nemiga. I think they agree on that particular respect. Money's not great despite them losing as many rounds in a row. And again, that's to TPT's credit. They've kept these rounds very expensive, very damaging. So, seeing where this has gone. Hold on to the weapon. 7 to the board of TPT. A survival round at this stage in the game. For Nemiga, they won't be able to get away so easy with the victory.
And this is the debut for TPT on HLTV as well, Jay. So if they can hopefully try and make this comeback competitive, that will try and maybe lift up their spirits. But yeah, 7 rounds so far. It's not quite enough to really be thinking like overtime is likely. If they get to double digits, I think that would be a lot more of a realistic goal, because for Nemiga, in a 3v5, they opt just to go for an instant save, so we know the rifles are going to follow back out. They can even double AWP onto Jo if they want. That's certainly an option. No, they're going to opt against it for the meanwhile.
Yeah. Killing in abundance for him and for the rest of the CT forces. No player limited. AWP of speed that could still do some damage. He hasn't really been as impactful for Nemiga. I guess he hasn't really been needed, but 6 kills so far in this matchup doesn't usually indicate a positive entities, but kill Cappy that takes out Box to start things off, so maybe he is going to be needed to do some sort of trade potential here. Outside control being hunted from above those smokes. Box being the first to fall here. TPT. Playing inside for the most part here, out towards the lobby control, and just going to isolate those kills towards Squeaky Door and what have you. Smokes towards outside, flashes coming in, trying to swing on the AWP, but so far Speedak is not giving up any info.
No, that was lucky. They didn't have that third smoke, so Vanku could have got spotted out by the AWP and just got picked off. Not the best of smokes outside, but a play in towards Secret can be on the cards. Another play towards lower, perhaps, considering they look like they want to try and take some ramp, and Vanku's even going aggressive into garage.
Rev looking back here, Vanku moving up. Back is turned for the AWP, so he's got to catch this shadow, he just sees him. What an adjustment from Speedak. That might turn the tide of this round. 35 seconds. They have been able to gain ramp control for it, though, here, TPT. One player back lower, though. Look at Lollipop here towards double doors. Could also swing up at observation. He's going to hear all these footsteps and know that they're coming into the B-bomb site. Rotations will be called, but what will he do? How can he counteract it? Taking a fight, not able to win it out. He goes down, and CT's on rotate, all coming in from the vent area. Flashbang in, going to try to think and catch off that first player. Rev also seeing swing and hit spray through. Continues, Sane trades it back and follows suit on Speedak. It's all left to Jo. 1 versus 3. And it looks like TPT are going to get yet another survival round.
Yeah, round by round, they're bringing it back. And now get their 8th. And I mean, what a read. What a shot that was coming out from the NWP of Speedak. It's almost like someone whispered in his ear that there was a backstab coming through. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough to turn the round in their favor. Now, Lollipop 21K realizes that he's the only defender towards lower, that he has to engage into a fight. And from there, the post plant is just so successful. Eco round coming through, not a lot of upgrades coming out for Nemiga, and it's the aping kill coming through from the AWP. Kill Cappy finding 1-2. And you've just got to wonder, at what stage do we see Nemiga get to 16? How many more survival rounds are going to possibly come through from TPT? That's the big question.
Well, it's just that's the main sort of thing when you're on match point, you know. And with such a ridiculous match point, it's like, when is that one round going to come in? It doesn't have to be any sort of like major sort of buy round. It could well be this sort of, you know, half buy eco round coming in for the CT side. The pistols were out. The damage was done on VanQ at least. Oh, Box turning away at the wrong moment, so it doesn't look like it will be this round where he takes the win. Lollipop left an eye on the SMG 1 versus 4. And, I mean, he could throw this weapon away. He could try to even go for a kill. I mean, it'd be nice if he can get the $600 bonus. But the reality is that he's probably not going to win the round.
I think when you consider the core of the Nemiga side, they're probably one of the longest standing teams in all of Tier 2 Counter-Strike. The only other one that comes to mind is probably Forza with their core. But we've seen MDS, Lollipop, 21K, and JO playing together for, you know, getting on nearly 3 years now. It's been a very, very long time together. At least Lollipop is going to do a little bit of damage towards the end of the round. Bomb radius won't quite get him. The nade won't quite get him over. And, well, he just escapes that one with the MP9.
Stick with it going into this next round as well. Head Kevlar across all players, so it's not exactly like it's going to be a huge sort of, you know, damage dealer to the TPT side. Speaking of TPT, they are now within a very close touching distance of the 5-round deficit. One more round to double digits, and that would be a positive entity. Oh, I've seen this before. Is anyone holding from Heaven, though? I don't think there is. Dane can see anything. No. And no one's going to face him, so it looks like it's just going to be a fruitless play coming in from the boost players. Still set up top of the roof, though, so they can play inside towards lobby and towards the ramp control.
That was a nice attempt. Doesn't quite work out. Now, the only negative to that boost is, first of all, it takes a fair bit of time. Second of all, you actually make noise about it when you drop down, so information could be coming over for Nemiga, knowing that there were quite a lot of players towards that T-roof position. How much that actually means in terms of proper information is yet to be seen. It looks like smokes are going to be lined up towards the outside player for TPT. Now, we haven't really seen a lot of heavy commitments outside. It's normally just been like the one lurk going in towards Secret or Garage.
Smokes down. Garage smokes in particular. Nice nade on Box, trying to hunt for a gap in that smoke. Flash into swing. No, he opts against it. It's just going to be stalling tactics. Edge of the smoke here. Did he see Nora? I think he might have done. Got to look towards Garage next up. He's going to be the main concern of this defense. If he's left alone, his teammates backed up, expecting him to make the way towards Secret, and Nora does go down. Huge kill that now gets information. Footsteps at 20 seconds. VanQ does get Joe. One more player observation could line up 2 frags, but no. Sane turns around at AWP, gets that kill. 12 seconds left. They're going to drop that bomb partner real quick. MDS still focusing upstairs as Speedak turns up. Box going to get forced forward. Player planting towards the back lines of the site, and Rev got to spray through, got to get some kills, but no, he drops and kill Cappy left at the double doors. Seen by Box, does take that kill, takes a dink back to just 12 points of health, and now CT is closing in. The bomb is not planted for him either. Speedak with the orb, facing in, sees his kill, sees his man, and gets the round, gets the matchup for Nemiga. 16-9, they're off to the winner's best of 3 against TPT. A real good effort from the Poles, you know, like that was actually not even a bad sort of map from them. I think that getting towards double digits would have been the main sort of achievement to make, and the fact that they were there, you know, within touching distance of that, I think it's an okay sort of circumstance, given what they were actually, you know, the circumstances coming into this matchup.
Yeah, look, I think they'll be happy with that. Again, this is their debut on HLTV. They're a pretty new lineup with not a lot of experienced players. Look, we got to see some glimpses, right? Sane in particular dropped like nearly 25 kills. I thought that he was really impactful with that AWP. Some nice clutches came here or there, but overall, Nemiga were just in complete control of that map. They were always on the front foot. They always had the lead. They pretty much had the economy going for them for the most part. Yeah, maybe they did struggle to close that map out in the end and gave a couple of survival rounds up. But for Nemiga, they're going into the upper bracket best of 3 where they're up against the Young Ninjas, a team that they probably didn't think they were going to play here today.
With a performance like that against TPT, against underdogs like the Young Ninjas who are expected to be in the lower bracket, that could be a positive sort of sign for the Nemiga side. Will they be able to close it out in 2-0 and move on to the playoffs easy as that today? We'll find out after this short break as our first best of 3 of the group stage will continue and come back after the break.